What's going on, everybody? Nem here. Now, it's been a while since I've uploaded a video to the channel, but fresh off the heels of the VIP demo for Anthem closing, I figured, hey, it would be a fantastic time for me to talk about the game. Now, starting off, I don't care if you hate EA or if you want Anthem to fail. If you don't care for it, just don't watch the video. I don't need salty comments down below. All right, so that being said, first off, I want to thank BioWare, first off and foremost, and some of the community managers of EA for the amount of communication that they've had over on Twitter for the past like 72 hours, if not even more, especially when it comes to the state of the demo, because again, we're going to get into that. And just overall answering some of the questions that the public has had. I think they've been doing a fantastic job of doing so, and you know, other companies could sure take a note or two. Anyways, moving on. First off, of course, we're gonna have to talk about some of the issues that the Anthem VIP demo had. As soon as the demo went live at 9 o'clock in the morning, the servers were immediately flooded. It was next to near impossible to get in. Granted, those who were on it managed to get in, but didn't stay in for very long. One of the bigger things impacting the gameplay experience was the forever 95% loading screen. Whether you were going onto an expedition or coming from an expedition, you were liable to get hit with one of these infinite loading screens that would force you to quit the game. And if you were playing at the very few early hours that the demo went live, good luck getting back in. Now, over on Twitter, Mike Gamble has addressed this, that it's something client-wise, so they would need to push a patch in order to fix the issue. And I'm hoping that this gets patched in hopefully by next week. That way, when the open demo goes live and there's more people playing the game, we won't get hit by this issue. I will say though, I understand that people were upset because the VIP demo is indeed a paid demo. You had to pre-order the game or be a member of EA Access or Origin Premier in order to participate. So I get the frustration, I really do. You paid for a product, you wanted to play it, but the servers again were down for a good majority of the time. However, if you take into perspective, it's better that this happens now than it happens either when the open demo hits or when the game launches in February 22nd. That way the developers do have plenty of time to get this fixed before the game ships. Another issue that I encountered when matchmaking in free play was rubber banding. This wasn't as much as some of the other issues I had. I had the forever 95% loading screen 90% of my time with the Anthem demo. The rubber banding, it's probably a minor issue, probably connecting with somebody across the pond. So again, that's something that could easily be bypassed, I hope, but again, still an issue. Another issue that impacted my gameplay pretty negatively was an in-game connection error preventing me to play. So as you can see in this clip here, I would get this connection error message repeatedly over and over and over again. Now, it only happened twice on my play session of the Anthem demo, but it did happen enough where it just completely made me switch off the game and wait until the next day. Hopefully it resolved itself. But again, as you can see here, this is something that just kept happening, and it literally made the game unplayable for me. So hopefully this is something that the development team has seen on the inside and is fixed for the future. Now, of course, all of the feedback that I'm giving you here is based on the demo, and everything here is subject to change once the full game is released. Now, I'm not obligated by EA to say this, but I feel like I should, because people are going to take some of this feedback way too seriously. And again, it's a demo. It's a 6-week-old build of wherever they were when they announced it. Now, Javelin Feedback. We're going to start off with the Ranger. The Ranger felt good, well-rounded for offense and support. His shield bubbles allowed for easy revives and buffs to your weapons. The missiles and lasers were awesome damage tools, especially when you combined it with the Storm's Ice Blast. It allowed to get some really good DPS in there, and the cooldowns were fairly quick, so you can use these abilities fairly often. His ultimate does make you feel like the ultimate, Iron Man badass. So you hover, or if you're on the ground, you're grounded, but you send this amazing missile barrage that just devastates the battlefield, and it does a lot of damage. The Ranger is a solid Javelin, super well balanced. In the final game, don't sleep on it. Now, for the Storm, this is the Warlock of the game. Being able to deal elemental damage from a distance is the name of the game for this Javelin. One of the benefits of the Storm is his ability to hover for a pretty hefty amount of time. Now, I do recommend treating this Javelin like a glass cannon. While he can deal a great amount of damage in crowd control, he also can't take a whole lot of incoming damage either. Now, while hovering though, he does get a shield that reduces some incoming damage, but I wouldn't rely on that too much because there are elite scouts out there that seems like they're running with a heavy machine gun or a minigun, and they'll just shred through your health. Now, his ultimate allows you to summon a huge elemental storm of fire, ice, and electricity. Definitely an eye candy of a super. By far one of the most impressive javelins in terms of animations and looks. He has a unique dodge animation where he looks like he just teleports from side to side, and his sprint animation is pretty awesome as well. He just kind of like levitates over the ground as he is thrusted by whatever Anthem of Creation technology that he has going on for him. Interceptor. Now this was a tricky javelin for me at first. The first few minutes of my time with it, I was not a fan. The abilities seemed weak and I felt super squishy. Now, fast forward to 20 minutes later and I fell in love with it. One of the benefits is that the Interceptor can rush in and out of a firefight while dealing a whole lot of damage. Now, another great thing about her is that her melee does not have a cooldown, unlike any of the other javelins. She has an ability where she can debuff a target and they'll take extra damage. That's when you go in and go ham on them. I seriously had to rely very little on my weapons when using the Interceptor. Now, the ultimate ability that the Interceptor has is basically Blade Dance, but you're invulnerable. Now, if you played Warframe, this is very similar to Valkyr's fourth ability. You do have a certain amount of time in the super, but you can pretty much go in and just wreak havoc with her melee abilities. She's very agile, very quick. Her dodging is super unique, as well as she is able to dodge 3 times consecutively before a cooldown kicking in, essentially. Her double jump as well, it has a enormous amount of distance that she can cover. So the Interceptor is incredibly fun. If you want to deal damage in and out of the battlefield like super fast, the Interceptor is definitely a javelin to play with. Now, the Colossus. Now this was a javelin that I really wanted to play as, and I was excited to get my hands on it. And once I did, I was a little underwhelmed by how tanky he actually was. Now, for a javelin that is meant to be in the front lines of the battlefield and hold aggro, he tends to get shredded relatively fast. Now, he also has a shield that you can use. If you're on PlayStation, you press and hold circle, or if you're on Xbox, press and hold B. And if you're on mouse and keyboard, whatever key binding you have for it. The thing is that while the shield will allow you to take in some damage, ultimately its health is still relatively on the smaller side. Again, the elite scouts or legendary scouts will eat through that shield's health in no time. And again, the Colossus is supposed to be somebody that's supposed to hold his ground, absorb a lot of incoming damage, but honestly, with a charged sniper shot of one of the adds, it eats about 80 to 90% of the health of the shield, and it kind of stuns you in the process as well, which leaves you vulnerable to everything else. Of course, he's not meant to be invulnerable, but I would like to see him get buffed a bit more at launch. In terms of his abilities, as I was talking about his shield, he can use the shield aggressively as well. When you're sprinting with the Colossus and you pull out the shield, you are able to ram people with the shield. Some of the more tankier targets, they'll stop you, but you can also use the shield to hit people with, which is really cool. And you can even fly with the shield active. So if you want to come in like a meteor, you can absolutely do so. Now, in terms of abilities, he's got some cool stuff going on for him, from shock coils and blasts, artillery missiles, and an acid spewing cannon. Now, of course, this is only the stuff that I was able to get from the demo, so there's possibly a lot more in the final game. Colossus is definitely a class that I would like to main once the full game is released on February 22nd, so I really hope to see him buffed by then. Now, some other feedback I wanted to give on the demo based on my experience from the demo. Probably the biggest issue I had was there was no AFK detection. When I was playing through the Stronghold activity, there was a player that kept going AFK, and some of the instances require the full team at the door or checkpoint, whatever you want to call it, before you can move any further. Now, I had this happen several times in the demo, one of which I simply had to sit and wait to what felt like 20 minutes before our AFK person decided to come back and play, of course thus resulting in our third team member to leave during the wait time. Now, you're probably going to ask yourself, well, why didn't you just leave, Nem? Well, see, this was my first attempt at the Stronghold, and after trying to get into the game for 2 hours, there was no way I was going to give up my spot and possibly wait another hour or so just to try to load into the game. I kept getting hit by the Forever 95 loading screen, so I was like, screw it, I'm just going to have to sit here and wait. So now, I'm not sure if the final game does have some sort of AFK detection, but it severely needs it. And I'm going to show you another clip here where me and my bud Ashen are just sitting waiting for our third or fourth team member to arrive. But yeah, it's the game on PC, at least as I know of right now, the demo didn't have any type of in-game text chat, so there's no way to communicate. Or any other way for us to push forward without this person being a detriment to the experience. But again, hoping that in-game it's something that's dealt with, because yeah, no, this will definitely hold up a lot of people when they're trying to get through an activity. Another issue, minor, very minor, this is more of a nitpicky issue I had with the game, was the color distinction between your team and the mission waypoint. Now, again, minor thing, but initially I was having a hard time figuring out which one was the actual waypoint that I needed to follow versus the blips of my teammates. Again, small change, but I think having a different color for the mission waypoint would be neat. And finally, before I turn this into a 20-minute rant video, the mass deletion of junk. You know, Anthem being a looter shooter, you're going to get a lot of junk. In the demo, you basically have to delete these one by one, hoping that the final product will release with an answer to this, so like a mass deletion or something of the sort. But overall, I really enjoyed my time with Anthem. The moment the demo closed, it left me wanting for more, and I really can't wait until February 22nd for its release. The game has a solid foundation to be one of the more addicting looter shooters out there. BioWare, you have something special here. I'm honestly sincerely rooting for you guys to make Anthem one of the best looter shooter games out there right now. With that being said, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more Anthem stuff here, let me know. I'm trying to get my YouTube channel a little bit more active going into the new year, with more Destiny stuff and more Anthem stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy, everybody.